Well, we rolled in yesterday, our first ever visit to beautiful Chickamauga Lake on the Tennessee River at Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was out in the nitro doing a little scouting by myself. I had the television camera on the tripod. Big boat wake came by, rocked the boat, and over it went. Television camera sunk to the bottom of Chickamauga Lake. What a sad little story. We've had to fight through it, order a new camera, get it overnighted here, and you're looking at me through the lens of a brand new camera right now. We're gonna fight through the tough times, get back out on the lake and show you what this bass fishing we've been hearing about at Chickamauga is all about. Good times or bad, this is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
Well, obviously, as you can see in the background, we've hit Chickamauga Lake on just a gorgeous late spring, early summertime day. The bass are going to be headed out to those deep Tennessee River ledges that they're so famous for. You can crank them up on a really deep diving crankbait, and that can be a lot of fun right through the hot weather months upcoming. They're not really there yet, so we're going to have to do a little scouting around, see if we can figure out exactly what's going on with the bass. We might try to catch a few bonus crappie too, you never know, but we'll see what happens when we get out there. This is my first ever trip to Lake Chickamauga. I've fished several of the other Tennessee River lakes, but my first time on a lake that is home to some of the biggest bass in the entire state of Tennessee. May not get to show you one of those, but we'll give you a flavor for what this lake is like anyway. And while we're doing that, we're taking you around the region for your very latest fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters with your local fishing reports from your lakes, rivers, and bays nearby. We're in for a lot of fun today. We'll see what happens. Got a little guide help today. We'll pass along the guide's information if you'd like to book a trip here, and much more in the next half hour. Right now, it all begins with your weekend planner back at the FSN studio.
The Salooner tables are predicting some of the top game fish activity over the weekend to take place in the mornings right around sunrise. And peak evening times should start at 6:38 on Saturday and 7:24 on Sunday. Expect the sun to rise at 6:36 and set at 8:31. And night skies will feature a moon that is 65% illuminated. We're coming right back with all the current freshwater and coastal fishing information from around the area. Plus, current Bassmaster Classic champion Casey Ashley joins us for this week's Ask the Pro feature. Stay with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Lew's, setting a new standard of fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And by Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
There's one. Not big, but there's my first Chickamauga bass for you right there. Welcome back, everybody. We're out on Chickamauga Lake, Tennessee, Chattanooga. This lake is Lock and Dam, part of the Tennessee River chain of lakes that's so productive that includes places like Guntersville downstream from here. That one goes. It's 36,000 surface acres, and this lake is kind of interesting. It's the main Tennessee River channel. Also, the Hennessy River feeds this lake as well. But then you've got literally hundreds of ditches, pockets, and creeks that feed into the river channel. So you choose whether you're going to fish the main river channel or you're going to fish these creeks and pockets. Now, I'm back in one of the creeks just fishing along a little ledge, little creek channel that winds its way back through here. And that's a great way to catch them here. Then, as I mentioned, in the summertime, they crank ledges here. And what you do is you get off the main Tennessee River channel, and there's a lot of humps, sandbars, and ledges, gravel bars that run out to the river channel. And you can be sitting in 40 feet of water in the Tennessee River and throwing up in 6-8 feet of water on one of these bars. I'm just fishing a lipless rattling crankbait right now, looking for bait fish, and I see some bait fish flipping around. I'll give you 4 keys to locating bass at Lake Chickamauga coming up in our next segment. Right now though, let's get you some local fishing and lake reports from your backyard, some of your favorite lakes, rivers, and bays.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you once again by the Lakes of Wood County, reminding you that with 87 named fishable lakes, including world-famous Lake Fork, it is a fisherman's destination. But with events and activities year-round for the entire family, there is more to Wood County than just the lure of big fish. Now this week we're here at Possum Kingdom, which has seen great benefits from the spring and summer rains. Up about 20-25 feet from last year's level, bass fishermen need to remember rocks, docks, and flooded vegetation. Hit those rocks and docks with your square-billed, shallow diving crankbaits in shad colors or rattle traps in chrome blue, and then work the flooded vegetation with your Texas rig worms, lizards, and creature-style baits. You may also want to have a drop shot and a Carolina rig ready to work some of the deeper rocks and points on Possum Kingdom. Now, your striper fishermen, the main river channel. Stay over that. You'll be fishing over 60, 70, 80 feet of water or more, but you're only going to fish about 20 or 25 feet down. That's where the stripers are hanging chasing the schools of bait fish. You'll use your standard striper baits like your leadhead jig with a plastic body. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the Lakes of Wood County. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Inside or outside? That's the question. Whether to wade the surf or seek the protection of backside shorelines and back lakes on barrier islands. Now the pattern for most Texas coastal anglers is pretty simple as the dog days start to settle in, and that is to hit the surf from Sabine to the Padre Island National Seashore when winds are light and from a favorable direction, or fish water inside behind one of our barrier islands. Either location should start with topwater lures early before switching to soft plastics as the day warms. Now, as water temperatures continue to climb, passes, jetties, or areas adjacent to the intracoastal waterway are good choices. Look for trout feeding up shallow at first light before retreating to deeper water as the day progresses. On the middle coast, Estes Flats has been good for redfish with scattered trout in deeper holes and water. All of the shallow shell and grass beds, as well as around spoil islands and channels from Dagger to Mud Island, continue to provide consistent action for those fishing artificial lures or live bait. Now the backside of Mustang Island, south of Shamrock Cove to Packery Flats and onto the boat hole are holding some fish. Grass beds off the intercoastal waterway to the rocks at the mouth of and inside of Baffin Bay have been good for those fishing live croaker. 3 islands southward to Longbar has a mixed bag of trout, redfish, drum, and flounder. Fish shallow early and then fish deep by early morning. This weekend, Saturday has a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide. This Sunday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
There's one. Well, I'm destined to catch this size today. Welcome back everybody, Fox Sports Outdoors. We're at Chickamauga Lake, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Today doing a little bass fishing, and we're catching some fish. I'm going to show you a giant Chickamauga bass here in just a little bit, or at least a picture of one. You won't believe some of the size of the fish that grow in here. I mentioned in our last segment that I would give you 4 factors that will determine your chances of catching fish if you come to this lake. I've talked to many guides, local fishermen, some of the tackle stores around here, and they're all saying the same thing. Number 1, you look for current. There's water being pulled down the Tennessee River. You can check that out at the Tennessee Valley Authority website, and they'll show you the schedule of when they're going to be pulling water through these hydroelectric dams up and down the river. So you're looking for current. Secondly, you're looking for water level. This water level can fluctuate a ton in this lake. In fact, you can probably see some of these docks behind me. We're at real low water level right now. If you do that, you've got to push back out toward the river because the fish will pull back out of the pockets and creeks if they're dropping that water level. If it's coming up, they're doing the opposite. They're pushing up shallower. Thirdly, you're looking for off-colored water. If you pull into a place and you see that real pretty, crystal clear, green-looking water, that's typically not where the bass are staying. You want to find this more brown-colored, more off-colored water. That's where you're going to find largemouth bass, or at least the ones that are more willing to strike. And then fourthly, you want to find the presence of bait fish. There are a bunch of big gizzard shad in this lake, and that's what the bigger bass feed on. So if you pull into a pocket and you see these shad flicking around on the surface, that's the presence of these gizzard shad. That's what you're looking for. If you find those 4 factors will help you catch fish if you're coming here to Chickamauga. Hey, let's check in for some more local fishing and lake reports from your lakes, rivers, and bays. Let's go to Cajun Phil and Kevin in Louisiana.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana Fishery Report. I tell you what, we took a break last week from all this saltwater fishing. Me, Captain Kevin and his family, also Captain Carlos and his family, Captain Clayton and his family. I tell you what, a bunch of our friends, we took off, we headed to the lake to do a little bass fishing. Got away from the redfish and the speckled trout. It was really fun. Tell you what, up at Toledo Bend right now, the water's still pretty high. Caught a lot of fish in the brush pitching and a lot of brush tops. That was early in the morning, late in the afternoon. I tell you what, you're in the middle, hotter part of the day like it is right now. Tell you what, we went to Carolina rig and just regular plastic worm with a big heavy weight, dragging across the bottom real slow. Bam, we were catching some pretty nice bass. We had a great time. It's good to be back home though. Captain Kevin took off. He was fishing a HT Elite Redfish tournament down around Leeville, Louisiana. Now most of the anglers are running all the way to either the Houma or to Delacroix. Said limits were easy to catch. They were catching them on spoons, they were catching them on plastics. Kevin was throwing a big old Kelly Wiggler under a Rockport Rattler hook with a little weight on it. He was dragging it across that moss grass. They were standing up on their pedestal. They could see all the redfish. Right now, redfishing is good all across the state of Louisiana. If you want to make a trip anywhere in the state, contact Cajun Phil. That's CajunPhil@hotmail.com. I'll be glad to tell you what's happening where, what they're catching them on, what are some of the better guides, and I'll give you an up-to-date report.
Little Chickamauga male bass special. Well, it's a fish. He's got a whole mouthful of my treble hooks. There. Hey, don't forget, join us on our Twitter feed if you want to win some great gear. And if you want to see all the latest fish pictures from around the region, from around your home lakes, we put them up first on our Twitter feed. We are @Fox_Outdoors is our Twitter address. We're giving away all kinds of great gear all season long. But you got to be a follower of us on our Twitter feed. Stay with us. We're coming back to Lake Chickamauga.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Introducing the XI5 for ultimate boat control. By Fort Worth Nissan. Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
There's one. All right, there's a fish. It's a bass. All right. Well, another rattlebait bass. Just going along, throwing along the edges of anything I can see. Any sandbar, any little point, rocks, all kinds of stuff. Not catching big ones today, but the last couple of years, Chickamauga has been the hot bass fishing lake. Lots of huge bass, lots of 9, 10, 11 pound bass. And here's the kicker. I want to show you a shot here of the all-time lake record Chickamauga largemouth bass that was caught just this past spring and set the, I believe it set the Tennessee state record if I'm not mistaken. 15+ pounder caught right here at Chickamauga. There are some giants swimming in this lake. Now I will tell you that most of those big bass get caught off the river channel, off those sandbars and off those gravel bars on an umbrella rig or an Alabama rig. It's hard fishing. It'll wear your shoulder out fishing it all day, but you can catch a great big one doing that. Hey, time for more fishing and lake reports.
Hey, it's getting hot here in Oklahoma, and the topwater fishing is too. You know, this time of year is always a great time to catch schooling fish, and especially white bass. Lots of really good white bass schooling reports in from many places across the state. And the neat thing about the white bass schooling this time of year, it can be any time of day. You know, right now you can find a lot of fish schooling early just about anywhere. And what you're going to see a lot of times, if the water is calm, it's going to be just more like a disturbance under the surface, and all of a sudden it can erupt, they'll go back down. If they're up on top, you can catch them pretty much on everything from top water. Throw that jig and spoon in there, throw a small rooster tail, works really well. But when they go back down, obviously you've got to get back down at the depth that they're dropping down to. And right now it seems to be about 8 to 10 feet. That's why I always like to have a jigging spoon tied on. I've talked to you about that before, but the jigging spoon casts great. You can fish it on top, you can fish it down deep, and you can fish it vertically right below you too. What these fish are doing, they're coming up, they're chasing little tiny bait right now. So, you know, if you can't catch them on top water, downsize, again, that rooster tail is a great option for right now. I like the white or the chartreuse rooster tail in about a 1/6 or an 1/8 ounce, so you can cast it pretty good. Get into the middle of those schools, but again, if they go down, get that jig and spoon down below them. Those fish, once they aren't breaking on top, they're still roaming in and out of those areas. You can catch them down below you. A lot of fun fishing in Oklahoma for schooling white bass this time of year, but one thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
There we go. Well, just another one of those. Well, we've got fish, a lot of action, and a lot of fun. Just not any of the size that I was looking forward to, but hey, you take what you can get out here. Happy to have him. Away he goes. And we will be back to give you some more information about Chickamauga, looking at a guide trip, and a couple other little tidbits you won't want to miss. Stay with us, coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And by Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro feature, where viewers get insider tips from top anglers. This week's question is from Jake, who asks, what are some ways to get a boat up on plane faster? For the answer, we checked with 2015 Classic champion Casey Ashley.
Number one is weight distribution throughout your boat. If you've got the back of the boat really heavy, of course it's going to take you longer. So you can try to make the front of your boat a little heavier. That way the nose pulls the boat down. If that doesn't work, you can change props. You know, say go from a 25 to a 24. You know, smaller is better if you're trying to get out of the hole. Bigger is better on top end. Now, if you've got a boat that's running 82 miles an hour and it takes you, 75 yards to get out of the boat, out of the hole, then you don't really have a problem. So it's kind of what you want. If you're still having problems, you can take the prop you have on your boat, and they have on Mercury you have different plugs that you can put in. Sometimes you can take plugs out, put plugs in. That'll help you get up and out of the hole a little faster. But most of the time it is because of weight distribution in your boat.
Thanks, Casey. If you need help from one of the pros, visit foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit a question. Now let's see who wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Hey, before we get to our Costa Catch winner for today, I want to pass along the guide's information. If you'd like to come to Chickamauga and book a guide trip, Chris Coleman is your man. And there's your web address, your telephone number on your screen. You can give Chris a call and he'll take you out fishing for some of these bass that reside in Chickamauga. And one word of caution to you. 2 days before we came, the Tennessee Valley Authority dropped the water level almost overnight by about 2.5 feet, and it literally just killed the bass fishing. All the bass basically went into shock. So my advice to you would be check the water release schedule and plan your trip away from a big drop in the lake level. All right, it's time right now for your Costa Catch of the Week winner this week. He is Jared Brock of Granite Shoals, Texas. He's showing off a 10-pound largemouth bass he caught at LBJ Lake, Lyndon B. Johnson Lake in Central Texas. If you'd like to have a chance to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click in the Acoustic Catch of the Week area on the right side of the front page, follow the instructions, fill out the form, send us your big fish photo, and you could win a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses. And you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles at the Costa website. Go back to the front page of our website, foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Costa logo, and you can see all of the styles there, including the blue ones that I was wearing on this week's episode. They're called Cat K. On this week's Academy Right Stuff, I want to talk about a line of fishing apparel that we helped Academy Sports and Outdoors introduce about a year and a half ago. It's called Magellan Outdoors Fish Gear, and you see me wearing it most weeks here on the show. They've got clothing specially designed for anglers. Water resistant, wickable, breathable, so that the sweat on your body goes right through and evaporates quickly. Bug resistant, UV sun ray resistant, all specially designed for anglers. Pants, shorts, shirts, the entire line is called Fish Gear, and they're available at your local Academy Sports and Outdoors store or on the Academy website. I read a saying that says getting older is mandatory, but becoming mature is optional. There's truth in that. Up until about 100 years ago, there were only two phases of life, childhood and adulthood. 13 or 14 years old, you passed from one to the other, and there were rites of passage like bar mitzvahs and those kinds of things. You were expected to act like an adult. And then along about the turn of the century, some psychologists decided there needed to be a third phase called adolescence. It gave kids the right to act foolish up until 18 or 20 years of age. Now comes an emerging new phase of life called early adulthood that gives adults the right to act like children and act foolish and make dumb decisions all the way up until about age 30. Now, I think we would all be much better off to chunk that one and expect people to begin to take responsibility for their own actions, to hold down a job, to go to work, to move out of their parents' homes much sooner than that. I think we would all be better off if that happened. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip to the Tennessee River to beautiful Lake Chickamauga. Again, one note, be sure and come here when the water level is stable. I think you'll enjoy the bass fishing here. There are some great big bass in this lake behind the dam, just behind me. Hey, don't forget that we'll be on next week, Thursday at a special time of 5:30 p.m. with the repeat airing Saturday morning at 7:30. And you can always see the latest episode of our show on the front page of our website, and just below that, you can catch up on all of our past episodes and lots more instructional, how-to, and product videos by clicking in that area as well. From Chickamauga Lake until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.